Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SIL Legal Lounge podcast, Let's Talk Law, where we discuss different areas of law in a frank and easy to understand manner so you can always end up learning something new. My guest for today is a brilliant lawyer working in the field of human rights. We have barrister Aisha Siddiq Khan joining us all the way from the United Kingdom. Hello, Aisha.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I am well, and I believe it's really early in the morning for you.
That's all right.
Thank you so much for taking out time for this. We have Aisha here today to speak on an article that we published of hers a few days ago on the role of patriarchy in war. Before we go on any further, Aisha, would you please introduce yourself briefly for our viewers?
My name is Aisha Siddiq Khan. In terms of my qualifications, I'm a barrister and I have LLM in human rights law and MSc in international politics from SOAS as a Shievening scholar. And I've been in litigation since 13 years now. And I started my legal career as a human rights lawyer. And I worked as fellow of Bertha Foundation, which is a UK-based legal aid charity in Pakistan at Foundation for Fundamental Rights. And I had the opportunity to work on cases involving violation of human rights in form of extrajudicial killings by drone strikes in Pakistan, enforced disappearances, which included Guantanamo Bay detainees. Then we did strategic litigation and advocacy on death penalty. So this was my start, and then I worked at corporate law firms. Then I also worked as state prosecutor or state counsel at Islamabad High Court. And currently, I'm running my independent corporate law practice, primarily representing public bodies. And I'm also a fellow of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, United Kingdom, and I'm involved in arbitration and litigation as of now,
Mashallah,
along
that's a
with
very, very
CPC.
impressive resume. Very, very happy to have you here with us. And for those watching, my name is Nida Tareen, and I am the principal and co founder of School of International Law, a recognized teaching center for the University of London LLB Honours Program. And I will be hosting the segment for today. My co host couldn't join us, so I hope that I can do justice and I can, ask you all the questions which, were laid down for you by a lot of people who read your article. So, as we discussed, Aisha, we decided, if you remember, we decided to take your article and use it as an inspiration, really, because, your topic was patriarchy in general and how, that influences war. So, we decided to use your topic and discuss a more pressing issue currently. Unfortunately, it's a pressing issue in the Pakistani society, in particular regarding honor killings. So, before we go on any further, could you briefly explain to the people watching where is the role of patriarchy when it comes to honor killings? Is it a patriarchal issue or is this a cultural issue? Is it a lack of education? What exactly would you say would be, the main sort of driving force behind honor killings?
First of all, patriarchy as a concept needs to be understood. It's a very deeply rooted phenomena, not just in our part of the world, but globally. And it has many dimensions to it. So, patriarchy basically is institutionalization and domination. Basically, it is the manifestation and institutionalization of male dominance over women and children in family and over women in society in general. So, when we speak of honor killings, where is this concept of honor coming from? It is a patriarchal construct. Why is honor attached to bodies and agency of women? It is actually the social conditioning which is perpetuated through patriarchy as a system which is so deeply entrenched that we are born into it, we live it on daily basis. Why is it that if a man, no matter whatever he's doing in his personal life, there is no honor or dishonor attached to it? For instance, you would see men smoking everywhere. It's considered very normal. But whenever a woman smokes, she's looked down upon. Is it really, has it got to do with the health issue that cigarettes are supposed to be bad for the health? Or
They're
is
bad for
it
everyone.
it's bad for everyone? But why is it that we have normalized seeing men smoking in public spaces, in our homes, in our drawing rooms? But whenever a woman smokes, it's considered to be something which is, related to her character. Instead of, looking at it as a health issue, we associate it with her character. Similarly, when we see women in politics, there are going to be so many male leaders who can even openly boast about having a past or having being playboys in their past. But can a female leader do so?
It's a lot easier to make jokes about women. It's a lot easier to make, disturbing memes and, AI edited images and videos about, like you said, women politicians. We've seen a surge of that in the past as well. Again, do you think that this is also because it's just a lot easier to dismiss women in general?
Because the entire system is structured in a way that it privileges men and it opposes women. Because a woman, she's not allowed to exercise her agency. If a man, even if he crosses many lines, he can get away with it. If a man and a woman, they are in a consensual relationship, and if that relationship does not work out, the man can live freely. He can have as many relationships as he wants to. But when it comes to a woman, we think that, she's disgraced herself. Even that man feels empowered that if you look at the recent honor killing, the guy who got killed as well, he was posting videos on TikTok and he was provocating the male members of the woman's family that, see, I was involved with your
Really? I
sister.
didn't know that.
Yes, now new facts are coming up and they're surfacing that he would provoke them. That if you can do something, then do it. And I'm roaming free here. And he was basically calling them by terms like na mard.
The partner who was also killed with the woman in this honor killing case in Balochistan recently. So you were saying that he was, posting videos on TikTok, he was provoking the family members. But what I found disturbing was that it wasn't just the men who were justifying the honor killing. So the female victim's mother actually went, to the press. I mean, she went on, live television, and she said that this is something which we all agreed upon. It is based on our customs, and there is nothing wrong in, what the executioner did, and so on. So where does that argument really go? I mean, we are talking about how patriarchy, it harms women, but what if the women are supporting the harmful side of patriarchy? What happens then?
Feminists argue that the focus should not be on biological sex. Focus should be on gender, which is the social construct. You can be born a man, but socially you could be a woman. The way you think, the way you behave, you could behave and think like a woman, even if you're born as a man, and vice versa. So, what patriarchy does is that it pits women against other women. And you would see many women who have really internalized patriarchy into themselves. And they are actually the ones who support and, perpetuate patriarchy in our homes and in our society at large, which is quite a shame. So, it's basically about social conditioning. The women are also made to believe that if a woman is of it's if she does not fit in a certain criteria, she's not a good woman. So this labeling also goes within our own gender. And as my article also mentions, that we should not just look at the bodies, we should really look at it from an ideological perspective. If you look at the prison staff at Abu Ghraib prison, Lindy Johnson, she was a woman,
And
and
she was
she
the
was
one perpetuating that
uh,
disgusting
exactly
incident. Yeah.
incident. So it's really about the mindset. It's not about the body, it's about the social conditioning and the mindset. So this lady, she's been made to believe that the honor of the tribe, it takes precedence over her own daughter's life.
There are certain questions which I think people have, which they just want a very simple answer to. And one of them is, so in a country like Pakistan, on the one hand, we have women like you, for instance, who, you're achieving so much as far as your education is concerned. You're doing brilliant work in your career. We have examples of women who are doing so well in politics. We have examples of women who are actually, breaking, as they say, breaking the glass ceilings and, breaking, smashing whatever, boundaries that were there for them. And they're doing really well in whatever it is that they're choosing. So that is one side of Pakistan. And then you have this side of Pakistan, which is unfortunately, if you look at the statistics, we only have, recorded numbers of honor killings, for instance, from 2024. I believe it goes upwards to 400 plus. But, and those are just the ones which have been reported.
Hmm.
So, on the one hand, as I said, you have success stories of women in Pakistan. And, one feels a certain level of pride and honor when they hear about those. But then you have instances where women are treated so poorly. And there is really, there is no value for their life or their dignity whatsoever. We hear of issues of honor killings, of gang rapes, women getting killed by people who are supposed to protect them. Where, how exactly do you explain this huge gap that we're seeing?
You see, it's not as simplistic as it seems to be. Education, for sure, is one step forward. But as I said, patriarchy is deeply structural. Uh, you must have noticed that recently there were a few celebrities and TV anchors who came on media and they mentioned about domestic violence. There was Jasmine Manzoor.
Yeah.
Recently, she came up, and someone with a voice, someone with an agency, someone with financial independence, she also went through that. It's a system that fails women. So there are many factors. For example, why do women choose to be in abusive relationships? Financial dependency is one major factor. Then how lack of support from their own families. That's another reason. The system itself is deeply patriarchal. If you look at the Jega system, it was banned in 2019, yet not banned, outlawed by Supreme Court of Pakistan in one of its judgments. But yet it continues to be giving verdicts and passing on such bizarre verdicts and playing with people's lives and dignity. So it's a very structural issue. Unless and until the entire society and its social conditioning is not overhauled, it's going to persist. You really think that, okay, I'll give you example of Benazir Bhutto. She was holding the topmost office in the country. Did she not face patriarchy? Did things really change after she became the prime minister for all women in Pakistan? They did not. So it's a long struggle. It's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's what, I always say, that women, just be prepared that you have to work twice as hard as your male counterparts to achieve the same level of success or the same level of acceptance. I think this is something that we have normalized for ourselves internally as well. So, like I said, this is something which we tell each other, okay, acha, because you're a woman, you will have to work extra harder, you will have to be extra careful, you will have to, sort of be extra vigilant. The extra always comes in simply because we're women.
Hmm.
And again, this isn't something that I think we even question. I find myself often not questioning it. It's just the way it is. But you're right. It shouldn't be that way. There shouldn't have to be an extra burden that is placed on us. But again, would we blame our society for that? Would we blame our culture? What are we blaming exactly?
Everything. You see, even at the topmost tier of in your country within the system, it's patriarchal. I'll give you example of Noor Muqaddam's case.
Yeah.
So while giving the verdict, while declaring that this man Zahir Jaffer he is guilty, there was a but
Yeah.
by one of the judges, and he
Which was
said that
very
but
disturbing. Yeah.
it is disturbing because, first of all, as a lawyer or as a judge, it's not your place to give comments on morality. This was a case of rape and this was a case of murder done in the most brutal manner.
So, okay, Aisha, very frankly, is this a problem only in Pakistan, you feel? Are other countries faring better?
I don't think so. If we look at statistics from United States of America, domestic violence is such a huge problem there. And recently, if you saw, people who've been following Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case,
Yeah,
you see, I'm not going to comment on the merits of the case. But if you look at the media trial, the way she faced the backlash, the way she was silenced, the way she was bullied, I do feel and see that patriarchy was at play there since the very beginning, even before the verdict came out. And at that time, she was in a better position because the courts in the United Kingdom, they ruled in her favor. Despite that, just because Johnny Depp was a male and he had that privilege and he was a bigger celebrity, and there was this entire movement on TikTok and all the videos that you see, there was patriarchy was unleashed like anything. Don't have a female prime minister, president of United States of America. You don't have a female secretary general of United Nations till date. Of course, it's going. There are going to be variations.
yeah.
The forms may differ, but it's pretty much there, and the system is failing women across the globe, but in different forms and to different intensity.
As you said, that it takes different shapes and forms, but unfortunately, it is prevalent all over. So, again, this doesn't justify, again, the incident that we had in Pakistan, in Balochistan recently. It doesn't justify that incident. It doesn't justify any of the horrendous incidents that have happened to women in our country and anywhere else. And we're seeing in instances of all kinds of violence, especially now all over the world. You have whatever's happening in Palestine. You're hearing of issues in Congo, in Sudan. You hear about issues in occupied Kashmir. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say women are the only ones bearing the brunt of it, but somehow I think women end up being the first and the most easiest targets. Do you agree?
I agree. Because they're considered to be vulnerable, women and children, they are the main victims of war because they're considered to be vulnerable. And primarily, of course, they're going to be male victims as well, but primarily it's the women.
Men are victims too. As you said, you have the incident of Guantanamo Bay, and you had a woman officer subjecting male prisoners, to the most horrible instances of rape and assault. So the victims are definitely men as well. But as you mentioned, the argument isn't so much against men. The argument is that the system has been designed in a way that it should basically attack, or it should in some manner, you know, dehumanize women, unfortunately, which I'm sure is not the intention of any legal system or the intention of any belief system. But somehow this is where we are. And unfortunately, we are still there. It's 2025 and we're still there. So it's something that I read online as well, that when a man is in a room full of women, he may feel intimidated. But when
Hmm.
a woman enters a room full of men, the only thing she will feel is fear at that point, because she doesn't know what she is going to face. So would you like to say anything before we end our episode?
I would say it was an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for having me over. And one last comment that I would like to make is that instead of using the terms men and women, I think we should be referring to terms the male and female being social constructs. Only then it will make sense. Because what the woman at Guantanamo Bay was doing was that she was effeminating the male
Yeah.
prisoners. So it's not about man and woman, it's about male versus female as constructed by patriarchy. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to wake up so early and recording this episode with me. And I really hope that we can at some point we can move past this bias, this inherent bias and discrimination we have. And I also would like to add that I hope we can remove the inherent bias we have within ourselves as well, and how we have conditioned ourselves or normalized ourselves to overlook many instances of patriarchal unfairness. But thank you so much, Aisha, and thank you to everyone who's watching. I hope whoever's watching ended up learning something today. And please do let us know if you would like us to talk further on this topic. I think we would love to have another, episode where we can continue speaking on this in more detail. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz to everyone.